Hi, I'm so excited to talk with you. Can you introduce yourself and tell me where you're from?
My name is Larry Leventhal. My Instagram tag is Larry OSAN, Larry Osan. I'm originally from California, been gone for over 30 years, been in New York for over 30 years. So I'm not a native New Yorker, but I am a New Yorker.
Nice. Well, I love your work here. I'd love to know what your inspiration is behind it.
That's actually kind of hard, but what this work represents is a search for identity. It's not a project per se, but when I first started doing photography, I was in a period of flux in my life and I was challenging what I call habitual living. I was challenging a very solid, rigid conception of who I was. So I started doing self-portraits, and as you can see, I painted my face, I adopted different poses, and I was trying to see who I was and also break out of who I thought I was. This body of work represents a period from 1988, when I first joined the New York City subway system as a young conductor, to my last piece, which was done in my current studio in the last year or two. So it covers over 30 years of photography.
Amazing. And it's all of you.
These are all me. I've had friends who didn't even realize that, which I find very flattering. It represents not only, if I be a little less than humble, my ability to change my look, but also it really does represent a continuing exploration, digging. My philosophy on that was derived from masks from parts of Africa, Northwest indigenous peoples. And my thought was, if I put on a mask or paint my face, will that either hide or possibly, which was my desire, to reveal my deeper identity?
That's amazing. And I think everyone could kind of relate to that idea of having a mask and going through all these different identities. Do you have a favorite of the collection, or maybe a favorite identity, so to speak?
Well, I've reinvented myself so many times over my life. I've been a short order cook, a bus driver, a computer technician. I worked in the subway. I took up acting. I wrote poetry. And my latest incarnation is as an artist. So the deepest part of my identity, I would say, would be being a creative. As far as my collection, I have no favorites. As far as my favorite identity, it always comes back to being creative in some form or another. If I'm not making something, writing something, painting something, I get anxious and nervous.
I think a lot of people can relate to that. I think having art as an outlet is very important. Thank you so much for speaking with me.
Well, thank you. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you, everybody out there in Artland.